Imagine walking into a glacier and seeing a face staring back at you from the ice. Not a statue. A real Ice Age killer, caught mid-snarl, like time just hit pause. I got chills the first time I saw the photos. I'm Riley Rush, and this is one of those discoveries that makes you forget to blink. Welcome to Crazy Top 10. Today, we're stepping straight into a 37,000-year-old moment frozen in a Siberian glacier. A saber-toothed cat, the kind with fangs like daggers, preserved so perfectly you can see fur, skin, even tiny paw pads. It looks like a movie still, except it's real life and real science. When I used to chase storms for a living, ice always felt alive to me, creaking, shifting, hiding secrets. This one hit a predator. Some headlines say it was frozen mid-hunt. Was it? We'll talk about that. But first, how did anyone even find this thing in the middle of nowhere? And what does a baby body tell us about a giant hunter? Buckle up. We're going from discovery to deep science to wild imagination, clearly marked as maybe. You ready for a trip into the cold? Because the cold is where this story begins. Here's the real story. In 2020, a research team working along the Badyarka River in Yakutia, northeastern Siberia, went out hunting for mammoth tusks. Instead, they cracked open a block of glacial ice and stared straight into the past. Inside was a saber-toothed cat, identified as Homotherium latidens by those long, curved canines. The shocker? It wasn't an adult. It was a cub about 3 weeks old, yet the paws, pads, and tiny claws were already there like a blueprint for a future apex hunter. Radiocarbon dating puts this little beast at roughly 37,000 years old, late Pleistocene. The ice acted like a deep freezer, sealing in fur, skin, and muscle. The skull and front legs were especially well preserved. Scientists called it a mummy, and for Homotherium, this is the first time something like this has been found frozen in place. That's not just rare, that's unprecedented. I've stood on permafrost and heard it crack like glass under my boots. You can feel how it locks time away. This time, it locked away a predator's beginning. So who was this cat going to grow up to be? Let's meet the species behind those fangs and why it ruled the Ice Age like a ghost in the snow. Quick reset. Saber-toothed cats weren't tigers. Homotherium latidens, also called a scimitar-toothed cat, was a distant cousin of modern lions and tigers and a terror of Ice Age Eurasia. Picture a cat about as long as a big lion, 6 to 7 feet without the tail, and pushing 400 to 500 pounds, long front legs, powerhouse shoulders, walked on its toes, and those canines, shorter than smilodons, but built like knives for seizing and puncturing. Here's what the cub tells us about the adult look. The fur on the mummy is short, thick, and dark brown, perfect for cold wind. The head could open wide with small ears and a stout, muscular neck. The paw pads are wide and square, with no big wrist pad, great for weight on snow. Built for stealth, built for power, built for the chill. What did it hunt? Likely young megafauna, bison, horses, maybe even mammoth calves if luck, and teamwork were on its side. We can't prove the exact menu yet, but this cub's early gear hints at a fast, strong hunter waiting in the blueprint. And about that dramatic pose in the ice, does it mean a hunt froze in place? Let's dig into that claim carefully. Okay, the mid-hunt line. Is it literal? Not yet. It's a powerful image, and I get why it grabbed headlines. The cub's head looks angled, the forelimbs caught in a tense pose like it collapsed in motion. But so far, there's no published evidence of prey bones in its mouth or trapped beside it. No smoking mammoth. So when you hear frozen mid-hunt, think cinematic framing of an extraordinary snapshot, not a proven scene. In paleontology, moments in action are unicorns. We've seen dinosaurs locked in combat, or fish with another fish in its gut, that kind of thing. For the Ice Age, a soft-tissue predator mummy is already beyond rare. The pose raises questions worth testing. Are the jaw muscles clenched? Any injuries? What's in the stomach? That's where the real story could be hiding. My take, enjoy the drama, but keep it honest. This is a once-in-a-world time capsule either way. If later lab work finds diet clues or trauma, awesome. If not, we still have the best look ever at a young Homotherium. What do you think? Does the pose sell you on mid-hunt, or do you want receipts? Either way, to understand how a body can freeze this perfectly, we need to talk permafrost. Permafrost is ground that stays frozen year-round. In Yakutia, the cold does not play around. Winter lows can plunge toward minus 90 degrees Fahrenheit, according to NASA reports. That kind of deep freeze shuts down bacteria and decay. Think of it as nature's cryolab. If an animal dies and gets buried fast by snow, ice, or a sudden slide, the cold can lock everything in place: skin, fur, muscle, even stomach contents. That's what likely happened here. The cub was encased in a layer of glacial ice along the Bajarica. Over tens of thousands of years, it stayed cold, dark, and still. When ice breaks open now, partly because rivers cut new paths and some permafrost is thawing, these time capsules show up. We've seen woolly mammoths with flesh, ice age horses, even cave lion cubs like the famous Sparta, all from this region. But a frozen Homotherium? First of its kind. Soft tissue is a gold mine. Fur tells climate survival. Skin shows color and texture. Paws show how it moved. Sometimes there's DNA. Most fossils can't give us any of that. This one can. And that brings us to the big payoff: what this cub can teach us about a lost world and a hunter we've only known from bones. This little predator opens big doors. For the first time, we can look at a Homotherium's living surface, real fur, skin, and claws, and compare that to the bones we've had for years. Short, thick, dark fur lines up with a cold-adapted lifestyle. Wide, square paw pads hint at snowy ground. Long, curved claws confirm the grab-and-hold hunting style. And because it's a juvenile, we can study growth, how early the weaponry appears, how fast the body plans for power. Next steps? Scientists may try ancient DNA. If enough survives, we can place Homotherium more precisely on the cat family tree and compare it to North American saber cats. Stomach contents or isotope work could reveal diet and season. If the cub was born in spring, that tells us about reproduction timing and prey cycles. The find also confirms Homotherium lived in Arctic Asia in the late Pleistocene, expanding its known range. Beyond labs, this is a story that pulls people in. It shows how Ice Age ecosystems fit together: predators, prey, climate, and chance. As a former field producer, I love that it sparks wonder without sci-fi hype. A predator's start frozen for us to learn from. So what would you name this cub? I've got one more ask before we go. Who would have thought a baby saber-tooth could bring us face to face with a giant's legacy? From a river-cut glacier in Yakutia to a lab bench, this cub carries clues to an entire Ice Age web. Whether it froze mid-hunt or mid-stumble, it's a rare gift, and we get to be the first generation to meet it. I'm Riley Rush, and this has been Crazy Top 10. If you want more wild discoveries, creepy mysteries, and storm-chasing level thrills, you're in the right place. Drop a comment. Do you buy the mid-hunt pose, or are you waiting for lab receipts? And give this video a like if prehistoric time capsules make your brain buzz. If you're new here, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss our next drop. We've got more Ice Age legends, extreme weather shocks, and carnard candy on the way. Thanks for watching, thanks for being curious, and stay warm out there. I'll see you in the next one, right here on Crazy Top 10.